Ben, how you doing?
I mean, we both survived the end of season social, Coley. So
We did. Sorry, I'm being joined in my virtual studio by a fly, so it's buzzing around. Probably because I stink after 3 days on the piss. But yeah, no, it's we're now retired. We're into fully retired life, and yeah, we both survived the social. A good day in London.
It was a cracking social. Like, brilliant to spend time with the team. Brilliant to have a drink with everyone. And yeah, we headed to London. Then we got the train straight after our recording that we did at the stadium. Then straight on the train, straight down to London. Met up with the group. Immediately had to see one off the bat for being late. And it was good crack. Very good fun. Incredibly hot.
Sorry, you had to see what off the bat?
See a drink off.
No, I'm just wondering the way you said you got to see one off the bat, mate. I was wondering whose bat you were drinking off.
Is that not a saying? I thought it was a saying.
It is now.
Well, ice cold Moscow mules to start with, brain freeze. That's basically what I got.
I can't remember how much we said on the podcast on Sunday, but yeah, we had best laid plans, didn't we? Where we had to be out of there we were going to podcast at like 9 a.m, out there by 10 on the train. Well, we didn't get into the stadium till I think it was gone 9:30, was it? Arch took forever to set up the podcast. We were on the 12 o'clock train, so we were late to the social. And also,
we were late.
The train was absolutely packed, so we had to stand for half of it, which, you know, we're former athletes, so we're able to do that. But yeah, London. What I did enjoy, right, I know I'm not allowed to tell stories about a certain somebody. Do you know, because what were the drinks we were having yesterday? There was loads of like mint in it, wasn't it?
I had a few Moscow mules, and then we're on like this vodka elderflower sort of drink. We had a few of them, and then George Martin, we're not allowed to talk about, but he insisted on getting a few drinks.
Yeah, there was 3 drinks on the bar, which I think were those elderflower, and they had mint in them, like obviously make them look fancy and stuff. And then George Martin, so there's 3 there. I think Radders had ordered them, so Radder went off, came back, and there's 3 drinks on the bar. George Martin's ordered. He's like, oh, what are we going to have? I'm like, whatever, George. He's like, right, we're going to have 2 mojitos, you and me. I'm like, all right, George, buyer's choice with mojitos. They make 1 mojito. And the bar lady's like, oh, we haven't got any mint up here. It's just going to take 2 minutes. We're going to get some from downstairs, bring it up. Be 2 minutes. And George's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't want a mojito. And he looks at the 3 drinks on the bar and he goes, I'll have one of those. And she's like, well, that's got mint in it, mate. He's like, yeah. Like, well, we haven't got any mint. You can't have it. He's like, yeah. It's like, right, should we just wait out this 2 minutes in silence, George, for the mint to come back up here, shall we?
Oh, just get the bloke a gin and tonic, it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
As you may be able to tell, we're actually recording this on Monday, so both of us need a bit more rest and a bit more recovery time, having been on the booze. So, yeah, if you're noticing in our voice or our energy levels, we are nursing a monumental hangover, having done 2 days on the booze. We just can't do it anymore, Coley, can we?
No, but retired now. I've got a long time to get over this hangover.
The other thing as well, worth talking about the socials, is Anthony Watson was seen at the Bath celebrations, and he also joined us on our celebrations. So Ant is basically a party animal these days. He's showing us the way to retirement, given he's retired a few months before us, Coley. It's basically just party. With whoever's having a party at that moment, go with them.
Yeah. Wherever the social fund is, Tone's there.
He is there.
He's obviously spent the Bath one night and then came to us and spent ours the next. So very smart of him, mate. He's retired. You've got to look after the pennies.
Before we sort of move on, I will say that I saw some videos of the Bath parade and stuff around the city, and it looked absolutely quality. Like the sort of the fans, the amount of fans there, the parade, what they'd actually put on. It looked awesome. Yeah, I saw that. So, yeah, big shout out to Bath Rugby and all their fans, because that looked like a hell of a celebration from the video footage I saw. I also saw a great video of Alfie Barbary, and he's in his it's actually quality. He's got holding a flag, I think it is. He's also got I think he's got a flag tied around his neck as well. He's in budgies. And he's in white socks and a pair of, I think they're black shoes, just like a pair of black. office shoes, just walking down. It's absolutely brilliant, mate. I love it. You know, if he doesn't get a gig of like, you know, the old advert 118, 118, is it 118, 118?
Yeah.
With the old fuzzy hair and the tash, like, mate, it's so good. I actually love that. And yeah, it looked like a hell of a celebration going on there.
One probably final thing we should, to wrap up our celebrations. Obviously, our pod went out on Sunday, I think, on YouTube and Monday, I think, and I think we've had a amazing reception to it, Ben. Some of the emails into crowd, into the podcast, comments and stuff. So, yeah, just to say a massive thank you to everyone. It's massively appreciated. And, yeah, thank you.
Thank you indeed. Now, some of the questions coming in, Coley, and actually it's more for me as well. What's the Barbarian situation? Can you give us an update?
Unfortunately, I had to make the phone call today and let them know that I won't be able to play due to I'm having my elbow straightened. So it's been booked in for 10 years. And now I won't be able to play because, yeah, I've got surgeries lined up in the off-season. So I'm going to be young and sprightly.
So you're going under the knife, you're getting your elbows cleaned out, and you'll finally be able to re-straighten them again.
I hope so, but I'm also having a fear that because they've been bent for like 10 years, the actual joint will be fine, but I'll like straighten my arm and then it'll just be like the muscle will just pull it back to being bent again. So I'm now just going to, even though I can have straight arms, my body just wants to be bent. So I'm just going to be like, so yeah, we'll find out. Just have to go to the gym just to straighten my arms.
It's probably just worth mentioning, Coley, like at the end of your incredible career, you've got to have two elbow operations and you've got to have a shoulder operation done this summer just to like semi-patch you back up, it just shows sort of the toll you've had to take on the body.
Well, so I've put these off for a good. I've had to be fair to the medics and Leicester, we had an agreement with my elbows for about the past 6 or 7 years that when I retire, I'd like them done. And similar with my shoulder, that's been about 3 or 4 years now. It's kind of like we'll keep going, but when it's done, just for quality of life purposes, I can survive with them, but you just don't. Well, they're only going to get worse probably in old age with arthritis and stuff. So you just want to get them done. And fair play to Leicester, we've agreed it, and they're being done. So I may be a new man in a couple of years' time. Couple of weeks' time, I'm going to be a new man, and I just hope I'm not tempted to play rugby again.
So there we are. You won't be playing for the Barbars. If you're wondering where my situation is at, Coley, because of course on Monday's episode I'd also had a message from Mr. Barbarian, Steve, and he'd asked for your number, which I gave him. And I sort of was waiting to maybe get another reply, but no. Turns out I'm definitely not needed for the Barbars. In case you were wondering, Coley.
Maybe I may have said, like, if I can't go, Len can't go either. So either both of us or, make a stand together for the podcast.
Right, Coley, that is enough general chit-chat and chat about ourselves. This is a rugby podcast after all, so we should talk about the rugby. The great Julian Montoya, our former captain, he wasn't at the team social because he had to fly out on Sunday to Dublin because the Lions are facing Argentina on Friday night in Dublin, which will be an absolute cracker. So that's on tomorrow. And we caught up with Julian in the studio a couple of weeks ago, and we managed to get an Argentinian perspective of the fixture.
What I will say is, for himself and the Argentinians, and we talk about the conveyor belt of rugby, he is on it non-stop. Literally, you do sort of entire Premiership season. He has a Saturday night to be with the guys. Then Sunday, he's on a flight. He's got to represent Argentina, in a massive fixture for against the Lions, a historical fixture. And yeah, he's straight into it. Then after that, we're on the summer tour, and then he has started a new club in the top 14. And then he's that man has been non-stop for about 10 years now. And it's incredible. He's incredible, I will say.
He is incredible. Right, let's go to an ad break, and afterwards, let's hear from the great man himself, Julian Montoya.
This episode of the For Love of Rugby is brought to you in partnership with Saily, a new eSIM service app brought from the creators of NordVPN.
Now that we're retiring, Coley, we can go on holiday. And more importantly, not worry about being back for pre-season in good shape.
That's right, Ben. I can't wait for my European tour of culture and history.
But how am I going to be able to watch rugby when I'm away? There's never any Wi-Fi, and it's extortionate to use roaming fees.
That's where Saily saves the day. Before you leave the UK, just open up the Saily app and you can buy affordable data for the destination you go into. They offer different packages, and that could be up to 10 times cheaper than your roaming fees.
Sounds good. Tell me more.
Well, Saley offers a safe and secure internet connection in over 200 destinations, and it includes 24/7 support. You can watch rugby to your heart's content, and you can simply switch your device's virtual location to access apps and content from back home.
So Saley saves me money, provides me a safe internet connection, and I can watch rugby by the pool on holiday. What's not to love?
To try it out for yourself, you can download Saley in the App Store and use the code FTLOR at checkout to get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase. Full details are in the episode description.
The Lions are playing Argentina this Friday, so who better to talk about this fixture than, of course, Coley, our former teammate, Julian Montoya, Argentinian captain, former Leicester captain, former teammate of ours. How are you, mate?
Hello, boys. All good, and you?
I'm great.
As always, huh?
Yeah, I'm good. What's it like, obviously, to play the Lions, for ourselves to get selected is one thing, but, to Argentina to get a fixture against the Lions must mean a huge amount for you guys and for Argentina rugby.
Yeah, of course. I think it's. I know I love watching the Lions tours as well, and having the opportunity this year to play against the Lions is something incredible for us as a union, as a country. The last time that the Lions played Argentina was 20 years ago, like 2005, and we drew in the last minute with a penalty of Johnny Wilkinson, if I'm not wrong. So it was a great game, but yeah, for Argentina, it's a massive opportunity, and it's like an honor playing against such an historic team. Of course, it's a big challenge as well for us because there's no Rec 9 for that game, but that's a problem for the coaches, not for us, of course. But yeah, it's going to be like top 14. All the Argies that are going to be playing in all the finals of the tournaments and all that. I don't know if they're going to be selected or not based on that. But as I told you, like, problem of Felipe and the stuff, like, nothing we can do about it. But I would love to play that game for sure.
Regulation 9, just for the listener viewers, is it's in the World Rugby, international rugby laws, isn't it? Where basically, if the game is deemed an international weekend or fixture, then basically every player has to be made available, and clubs and teams can't say no. But if the game is outside that Regulation 9 window,
it depends on the club. If
the club can basically say no, you can't go, and if it comes into off seasons, it can affect all that kind of stuff. So it's sort of outside the test window, so to speak.
So therefore, it comes club's discretion whether they wish to or not.
Exactly.
But when you get to the latter end of the finals like that, then it's unlikely. But also from a Lions point of view, I think it's brilliant that they're playing in Dublin. I think it's great they've got a fixture against Argentina before they go, because like, how good to send almost the Lions off on their tour with a fixture in Dublin. The place will be rocking, mate. Like, it'll be unbelievable.
Well, it could be the first time Lions have ever played in Ireland, and I think again playing a national side rather than like a barbarian side. Someone's come together playing an international side is going to be great for the Lions, and I think it generates more interest probably over here as well, to take that momentum with them to Australia rather than just sort of disappearing off, have the send off, then disappearing off to Australia to do it. So it's going to be it's going to be really good.
Who out of the Argentinian team, like the guys that maybe potentially might get an opportunity that have been on the fringes or haven't had as much test experiences as they'd like, who's particular players to maybe look out for that might be involved?
They are really good youngs coming through. There is come to my mind now, like Grondona's brother, the one of Bristol. He's been in camp with us. Elizalde as well, another 13, 15 is been with us. But at the end of the day, it's like who the coach pick up, who is available. That one guy that played like the last year was the first time he played almost every game was Joaquin Oviedo, number 8. He was one of the best of the team, like so regular, so consistent, and he's really young as well, playing in Perpignan. So they're really good young kids coming through, which is amazing for us, of course.
It's a bit of a danger game though, because the Lions, it's like the first time they come together, they don't get long. Of course, Argentina don't get long. Argentina won't necessarily have full strength at all because of the situation. The Lions, you can't predict their team just yet, who they'll actually pick for that first game. But you do want to get your tour off to a winning start and everything like that. But there is risk.
You got to expect it to be clunky as well. Like
it won't be smooth.
The expectation is Lions come together, great players, and it'll instantly just work. Whereas I think like there will be a certain clunkiness to the game within the team itself and against the opposition you're playing. So it's going to be might not be the most easiest on the eye game to watch, but in terms of like getting hit out as a player in that environment, you want to probably get a game as soon as possible. So make sure you are learning about people and understanding it and getting the line out calls, for instance. You're getting battle tested against an international opposition, all that kind of stuff. So as a player, it's great because you get to go out as quickly as possible and do it. Whereas, but obviously there is risks. I mean, the Lions played Japan, didn't they? Was that 4 years ago?
They played at Murrayfield, didn't
and
they?
Lost a couple of players in that.
It's when Alan Wynne-Jones did his shoulder. He got himself back.
Tipperick missed the tour basically of it, didn't he? Because he hurt his shoulder as well. So like there is always that risk. But again, there's a risk with. I've seen it on Lions tours. It happens first. You get to Australia and happens in the first game that people get hurt. So it's just a risk of rugby, isn't it? So you can't think like that. But
it's like when you have a preseason for the World Cup and you have those friendly games before the World Cup, and those things can happen as well. But you need that to start having momentum into the tour.
You, of course, before World Cups, you would play the Rugby Championship as well. So it's like ferocious, before that. And it is always a risk. You never want to see it, but of course, there's always that risk. Do you think, Julian, would you love to see an Argentina Lions fixture every 4 years and it becomes a regular, before they leave, they face Argentina?
Or would you like them to be incorporated into like another tour? If you see me like say to Australia, or they play like you know what I mean? Like so you play like
over 4 years, same as part of the Rugby Championship.
Yeah. So when they go to New Zealand in 4 years' time, like Argentina will play the Lions out in New Zealand
or in Argentina.
Yeah. Well, that would be amazing. Like having every 4 years a tour against the Lions. Of course, Argentina, we don't have a professional rugby league. Like now there's a semi-professional rugby league. So we don't have those midweeks games. They're not available. But being able to play against the Lions with the crowd that the Lions make and the history behind that is amazing. That's why I'm so excited about the fixture we have in 20th of June. So yes, one of the best tours and one of the biggest histories of rugby, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere. But every time there's a tour, you can see how it feels.
Do you think, mate, that your understanding of the Lions has increased because you've played rugby now in Europe than you would know if you stayed? If the Jaguars were still going, you were playing Argentina.
Definitely. Of course, I knew the Lions before, but since I've been here, like for the last 5 years, is even bigger. You can see how much people want to perform, what they want to play good for their country, because first of all it's their country and they want to play every week, but then that's in the back of the mind of every player. Like even though I know that the focus is on the next game and being successful with the team you are playing, is in the back of the head of everyone. Like, and you can see that. And then I think that since I'm here, you can see more about the history of the Lions, of the jersey. I see the jerseys behind here as well, so it's very rich and it's something very cool to see.
Coley, do you think that almost that first fixture for the Lions, if you're selecting that first team, we've seen it before with tours, almost that first game, it can be a little bit of a poison chalice for some individuals. You go out there, like you say, it's clonky, it's not as smooth as you'd like, and maybe you don't get off to the start you get, and maybe some players go on the back foot straight away.
Yeah, but I think it sort of works both ways. Obviously, you get bolters that play really well in those games, and I just think like the way the coaches and the group will see it will probably be differently to the way the outside world and the media and stuff will see it, because we'll probably expect them to be brilliant from minute one because you've got the best players playing, but inside that group, the coaching staff, the playing staff, they'll understand that there will be mistakes. It's more about how you respond to the mistakes, how you learn from each other. If you do mess up, it's like, how do I get the best out of you? How do you get the best out of Julian? That kind of stuff. And it's like, those mistakes would be expected and almost like built into what you do. It's not an excuse to, to be sloppy, but you know what I mean? And so if you go into a game understanding that, it's like when you play the first game of pre-season, you speak about like, they're going to be knocked on, there's going to be knock-ons, there might be a missed tackle or so-and-so, but like, everything we do. It's how we respond to that and how we, on the back of it, if we do mess up, how do we get the ball back, etc. Like, that's what you want to look for, don't you? And I guess in some regards, say there'll be some players probably thinking, maybe I don't want to play, but then everyone will be like, no, it's for the Lions. It's a historic day in Ireland. Back in all the Irish boys have wanted to play, weren't they? Like, the Ireland, playing for the Lions in Ireland in your home sort of city and stuff, there's probably nothing better in some regards. So, like, yeah, boys were desperate to play.
And also for Argentina, it's actually quite hard to preview, I suppose. When you face New Zealand, Australia, England, whoever, you know the systems and the way they're going to play and the players. But for the Lions, it's actually quite hard to preview. Like, you think that maybe it'll have a Andy Farrell spin on it, you sort of, an Irish sort of thing, but actually it's quite hard to maybe predict how they might play.
Yeah, I think that, in that case, like, preview is going to be the toughest thing to do for the coaches. Like, how can you preview a team that didn't play before? So it's like, probably you're going to see or you expect some things that are going to be very, like, characteristic from Ireland based on Farrell, but then it's more about thinking of how you can perform the best you can and to be focused on yourself more than on the opposition. Like, we're going to try to perform the best we can and try to keep building the momentum that we built last season or last year, or try to be consistent in those areas. I think it's a perfect opportunity for that. Like, at the end of the day, you can't control much about the opposition, and especially in these cases. So it's going with a plan and stick to it and try to have the best game you can have, because then again, this is the first game for us to the July test as well. So it's going to be really interesting, but probably it's going to be based on that, and the plan is going to be whatever the coaches say. But preview, I think there's not going to be much or any at all.
So when you've obviously had a few alignment camps, haven't you? I think you had one in Lensbury not so long ago.
One.
So has that been very much just focusing on the way that you guys play and the way that you'd like to carry on playing and build from what you've done in the autumn and the Rugby Championship?
That last camp was more about test, like conditioning test in the gym and Bronco, and then we have some rugby as well, and then was some meetings about review of last year, what we can do better for the year coming, review of our culture, and there were some new boys as well, so it's getting aligned together. We don't have many opportunities to do that. Everyone is spread in the world. Like, the boys that were in Japan or USA or even Argentina, they didn't come. It was more like all the guys based in Europe. But every opportunity we have to see each other it's amazing. But it was based on how to get better, and then now they're going to follow us in this last period of the season because we need to be like almost in perfect condition for what's coming. We don't have that time to rest and then go again. It's like now it's time for them to follow us even more.
What's Felipe Contaponi like as a coach? Is he sort of technical? Is he emotional? Is he a blend of both? How's he sort of lead the Argentinian side?
Yeah, I think it's more a blend of both. Definitely, he when he had a period of time when after he retired, he played in the amateur club Newman. He played there for a year, and then he coached like Jaguares by the second team. He was there, and then he went to Leicester to coach, and then he was like with Czechs. He was like assistant coach from 2 years even in the World Cup. So he has a lot of experience. He knows what is play for Argentina as well. He played, I don't think it was like 87 caps or something like that. And yeah, he's a blend of both. He has the emotional part of more that Latin part that we have, but he has all the other part of detail and how he wants the standards wise and everything. I think that it's a really good blend of both. But I was surprised more about like the technical part and the plan how we are going to play. And then if we say something, we need to deliver what we said. Like very strict in our behaviors and based on what we agree in our culture and all that. So I think that's the best thing.
Julian, thank you so much for joining us. Best luck to Argentina. Let's hope for a cracking game on Friday night. Obviously, the Lions get off to a winning way before they go away. But mate, thanks for giving us that insight into the Argentina mindset and camp. And roll on Friday, everyone. Thanks to Julian. How good was that, Coley? And what a guy. I'm going to miss that chap. And we're going to have to go visit him in Po. Like, we're going to have to.
Yes, we are. And we're going to have to visit him in Buenos Aires to eat steak and drink red wine. But yeah, he's going to be much missed. And he's a legend of the Argentinian game, isn't he? And I say, what a captain.
Coley, let's talk about what the Lions can expect against Argentina this weekend. I think, first of all, you're going to face that team that's renowned for bringing a lot of passion and emotion. It kind of simmers, and it's almost like, for them, this is a big occasion, isn't it? To play against the Lions and everything like that. It's obviously an opportunity for a squad that's very mixed. But the thing with Argentina is, although they've got a short time together, you know, the Lions have been in camp now for a couple of weeks, and they'll be working on their plays and their strategies and everything like that. Argentina have got a shorter window, but I know they've had mini camps leading up to this. I think they'll have a pretty clear overview of the style they play, which is, you know, high phases, ball retention, go through the phases, tight shapes, the way that Felipe Contepone likes to play, his team likes to play, you know, is an attacking mindset.
It is, and I think you look at Contepone and you look at his history. I think he's, you know, played at Leicester, coached there, has been sort of learned a lot off that sort of Irish system, and I think Argentina play similarly, I think, to Ireland, which is the Ireland coach staff's obviously coaching the Lions, so I can honestly see this being a game of where both teams are, you know, playing quite a lot of phases, trying to move the ball in hand, because Argentina do have some physical players like Julian and you know, Matera and blokes like that in their squad, but they try and, I think, manipulate teams and move them around and get the ball in there into the wide spaces where they've got wingers who can create damage. So it'll be really fascinating to see the two matchups. I can see the game potentially being a bit clunky because it's a first hit up for both teams. You've had a couple of weeks of, or some of the Argentina teams, Argentinian stuff are coming straight into camp. The Lions have been together for, you know, a couple of weeks, but only the first week of that was you know, sort of 22 players, so they might not have the match intensity straight away, or the combinations as well. So there might be some knock-ons and stuff, but I expect that when the game gets going, there'll be passages of play which will be, you know, where you've got some of the best players in the world playing, or definitely the best players in Europe playing, and it'll be a good matchup for both teams. Yeah,
I think the game benefits the Lions maybe more than it does Argentina. I think, you know, the way that the Lions want to set out and go, it's like, what an opportunity for them to, one, play on home soil or one of the home nation soils. Two, it's like they've had like 2 weeks camp, and then this week in particular, everyone now joins. You know, obviously everyone that Leinster from the URC final, everyone participated in the final for Bath and Leicester. Those guys join as well. So you've got the whole squad together for the first time, and I think it's just important they've got that hit out. They play a fixture this weekend. They start actually seeing footage of what they're working on and the style that Farrell wants them to do, and all the little bits of play and the bits they're working on. Now you get to do it against opposition. It gives you a hit out. It gives you then plenty to look at, and it actually gives you a nice build up towards their next first fixture on Australian soil against the Western Force. So, this game I think is more beneficial for the Lions, and I think for the Argentina, it's just like the perfect opposition to play against, you say, Coley, because they're sort of a bit of a similar style as you'd expect. If we think the Lions are going to play how we think they are, then there's a nice sort of style against style there.
Well, also, when the Lions go to Australia again, under Joe Smith, play similar to how sort of Ireland do, high ball phase, you know, high phase counts, high ball in play. So you've actually got Argentina, the Lions, and Australia potentially all from the same tree in some regards of how they play the game. So actually playing Argentina, even though they might not have all their test stars there, it's going to be it's different. So if you're playing South Africa, it's going to be scrum wall, probably ball in the air a lot. It's probably not going to, it'll give you a hit out, but it'll be a different hit out to, say, it's more like the teams you're going to face in Australia. So in that regard for Lions, it's great preparation because you're going to be running around, you're going to be playing, you know, ball's going to be in play, you're going to be moving it around. So, yeah, I think, it definitely suits the Lions probably more, and it's been well thought out to lead on to the coming games on tour.
By the time you listen to this, the team would have been announced, but we're, of course, recording this on Monday. But if I'm a player in camp, I'm desperate just to like, you just want to get on, you want to be involved, you want to get your Lions campaign underway, don't you, Coley? Like, you know, if you're a player, you want to start like having combinations built with the other players, whether that's back row combination, 9s, 10s, you know, back 3, centres, lock combination, all those little bits. Like, you're desperate to like get on that field and become a Lion straight away. You know, like if you don't get the opportunity this weekend, you're just going to wait till you get to Australia and everything like that. But it's just, you just want to get up and away. So there'll be a lot of people that'll be desperate to get the opportunity. And then when they get the opportunity, of course, you know, every game for Lions does feel like a trial match. You know, we're going to debate, as will lots of other people, selection towards that first test, you know, and from day dot you walk in, whether that's on the training pitch or the opportunity they've got on Friday night, is an opportunity to put yourself forward and say, you know, I want to be part of this test team.
I would not be worrying too much about the tests selection for that right now, but I'd be so desperate to play, as in like you're part of the Lions squad, you want to actually become an official Lion by getting on the field. I think especially those guys, I guess the team selection will favour the guys that were in camp for 2 weeks that didn't play in the finals, but obviously there's going to be some positions like Tighthead, Will Stewart and Tyke Furlong and stuff who have been, you know, those guys have been playing in finals. Some of those positions are going to have to play in the final and play in the first game. But I think all those guys that would double up would just want to go out and play, you know, and play for the Lions. So that's that'll be a great thing for them. And I think, you know, it'll be, I can see the Lions coming out, those guys, even though it might be clunky, coming out full on and trying to, you know, just bursting with effort, basically.
We've got a question from Sally here. On the podcast, you mentioned that Andy Farrell's style of play takes a long time to learn. Is that bad news for fans on Friday?
I don't think it's bad news for fans on Friday.
No.
You fans can probably expect it to be, as I said, a little clunky. I would say there might be some missed opportunities left on the field. There might be some dropped balls from, you know, but I expect, like when we talk about that pod of 3 coming off 9, there'll be 10 out the back of that. There'll be runners off that 10. There'll be runners out the back of that. And it might not be as layered and as depth as, say, Ireland play, but I would expect the Lions to move the ball. They're all quality players. You might find some tips at the line and stuff don't go as well because those sort of connections haven't been made, but then they will work because guys know each other and have played and know how to tip the ball and catch the ball. So, yeah, I expect there to be some sloppiness, for want of a better word, but I don't think that's bad news for fans. I think it's actually, because if Argentina pick the ball up, they're probably most likely to run it. You know, if there is, and both teams are most likely to sort of try and play their way out of trouble rather than go to the set piece or take the scrum or take the line out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it'll be the same with defence, Coley. You know, you've got to remember, like, everyone has different defensive systems. You know, you look at what Leinster and how they defend and how aggressive they are off the line. You look at how Bath defend. You know, the two guys that won their titles, like, they're different systems, you know, and they're different systems to then all the other players that are already there and from, you know, wherever they play. So there'll be some defensive things as well. And I think, you know, when we said about, like, takes a while to learn, and that's why it's fascinating, is like how much of the Irish blueprint does he bring? Because he'll be aware that you can't cover everything. You can't copy and paste how they play. That's why he's surrounded himself by, you know, essentially got 3 attacking coaches on that tour. Like, if you count Johnny Sexton as well as a 3rd attacking coach, let's say. So I think although it takes a long time to learn, it'll be interesting to see how much of the model do we see, you know, and we'll be able to talk about that, of course, post-game on our episode. It'll be fascinating to see what trends can we spot straight away in terms of their strategy and what they're trying to do.
It's one of those games where I don't think, right, the Lions might not have, they might not want to show certain strike plays off, say, first phase or to play, you know, because sometimes you have specific plays in your playbook which target certain things and you don't want to go any special plays because you don't want to give the opposition a heads up about if you have any plans, but Australia's quite a way away. So I don't think it's that, but I think in terms of the actual more generic shapes, how they're going to play multi-phase, how they're going to attack, how they're going to defend, like, you kind of have to install them now. And I think the basis of what you see at the weekend will be how the Lions are going to play going forward. And that's the interesting thing, as you say. It's about what can you spot. And yeah, from a fan's perspective, I think that's actually quite exciting because, yes, as a fan as well, if you think about it, you probably don't want the finished product. You don't want the best attacking performance to happen in the first game, do you? Like, you know what I mean? You always want the clunkiness to get out of the way, and it's because you know it's going to get better and better. So, I'm looking forward to it. As I think as a fan, to answer the question, you know, it's going to be exciting. And I think the occasion is going to be big. Lions playing in Dublin, against Argentina. It's a bit of a historic game. So I think that occasion is great for the Lions and for the fans. And I think the actual game should be, yes, there's going to be errors, but yeah, it should be a game. I think it's going to have two teams playing full of intensity, going at each other. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it.
I can't wait, Coley. Like the Lions, one of the greatest sporting spectacles that we get. And we've been debating it all season. Who's going? What's it going to be like? And it's finally here, and I cannot wait. And we're going to cover all of it. So that's our guide to the Lions versus Argentina. We cannot wait.
We'll be back on Saturday with our reaction to the match.
It's a massive summer of rugby, and we've got big plans.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell.
If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps us spread the love of rugby.
And if you've caught up on everything, go listen to For the Love of Cricket with England legends and our new teammates, Josh Butler and Stuart Broad.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. For the Love of Rugby.
If you want to drop us a line, get involved with our socials.
Just search for @LoveOfRugby. And if you've listened to all our episodes and need another podcast, go and find Joe Marler's Things People Do.
See you next time.